Here at Double Clutch, in the House of Classics, we care about cars. Since cars have the ability to move us not only physically, but emotionally as well, keeping them running like new and looking as good as possible is something we have a passion for. Every week, you'll play witness as we restore some of the best cars in the world, starting with a 1940 Lincoln Zephyr. Welcome to the restoration wing of Double Clutch. Last time at Carl's Custom Cars, Pete cut out a section of the rocker panel after finding some rust on the side of the 1940 Lincoln Zephyr. Brad also examined the car's chrome pieces to assess the workflow on restoring them. Today, they'll take measurements for the car's upholstery, while Pete will begin some early body work to get the car looking great again.
One of the most important things in restoring a car is you have to take the interior out of the car, and you have to take all the interior out of the car, which is the front seat, the back seat, the door panels, under the dash, the entire inside of the car. And when doing that, we discovered some interesting things about this car. And we'll step inside here. And first place I want to show you is back here in the back on these panels. These panels are metal. Most of the time they are fabric. And in this particular car, these metal panels were covered with a leather skin that actually had a design painted on it, and it matched the rest of the interior. So when we go back with that, we're going to have to kind of do the same type of thing. The other unique thing back here is the hoses that control the top are just rubber hoses pushed together with no connectors on it, which is kind of interesting, kind of like the wind frame up here. When we go to the front of the car, when we was taking out all the insulation under the dash, which by the way is old insulation like you'd find in a house, fiberglass, we had to get all that out of there because when we repaint this, the paint underneath here has to match the rest of the car.
Okay, we've got Gordon Burke on board. He's going to do the cutting, stitching, and sewing on the interior. He's very talented. Gordon, show me what we're going to do with this.
Okay, for starters, we're going to lift the frame up and measure it out for our pads. All right, that's all that we need there.
Okay, let it down.
Let me get this just one more time. 21, 20, 21.
Lay this down.
Yes, we can lay that down.
There. Done with that part. So no color choice yet.
No color choice yet. And we'll have to determine what, well, I guess that's going to determine on what color the interior is going to be, if we're going to go with black on the inside or tan on the inside.
Right. I guess we'll get you with the owner of the car to pick out a color for the material. Now, the authenticity manual has a lot of information about the style and design of the interior, a lot of drawings that goes with this car of the interior that belong to this type of vehicle, and I'll get that information to you also. Ultimately, this car is going to be a pretty quick build, and Gordon Burke's going to be on board to do all of the interior and the convertible top. Finish this car out like new. It'll be an incredible car. We're moving pretty quickly with it. We're having a great time, a lot of fun with it, and it's going to be awesome.
And right in here we did find some damage. This is a factory seam with lead work, but somebody got a little bit too close to something. They shortened the car about a ½ inch. So we got to get back in here and straighten all this out, do a little bit of welding, and we'll get it straight enough to put a thin coat of plastic filler on it and make it nice again. We are going to take the grills and fit the grills so our gaps all the way around are going to be really good. It makes a big difference in the car when you take the time to fit the hood, the gaps, and make everything just look really nice. You notice the quality of the car is much better, which is what we're looking for in this car. The worst part in the body on this car that I found is apparently they backed up with a spare tire mounted on this car and hit something. I guess they didn't want to look around and see if there's anything back here, so they decided to try to move it. Well, they may not have moved it, but they definitely moved the sheet metal of the car. So it caved it all in. I got to do a little work, get it all back out again. And if you look right here, this looks different. This is a spot welded seam from the factory, and then you can see where they actually did have lead. They removed the lead. It probably cracked or broke in the old repair. So I got some work to do now, get the metal back where it goes, and get everything fitting, the tail lights, the deck lid, and we'll be ready to go again. It's actually coming out pretty good.
Thanks for watching this week's segment. We'll see you next week for more restoration here on Double Clutch.